We back. So the last video ranked all of the MVPs in the 2010s, and today let's continue the series and rank all of the MVPs for the 2000s. Pretty self-explanatory. If y'all haven't seen that video, links will be in the description. Also, there's a card right here. I got the tier maker. I got Basketball Reference to guide us along the way. And let's get started. Let's actually do reverse. Let's go reverse mode in this video and start from the top of the decade. I know I said that in the last video as well, but what I mean by that is at 2010, whatever that means. This would end up being LeBron's last season for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he balled out. Honestly, by a lot of metrics, he got better from his 2009 season, which we'll get into right after this one. But in this season, he averaged 29.7 points, 8.6 assists, 7.3 rebounds, roughly 1.6 steals, shot 50% from the field, 77% from the line, and he was just flat out dominant this season. Mind you, this is my first season watching NBA basketball, and I just remember seeing this dude play, and yo, this dude was special. For the newer basketball fans out there, y'all haven't really truly experienced prime athletic LeBron. The athleticism LeBron displayed in the late 2000s in his mid-20s is honestly still unmatched. It was insane. Like, imagine Giannis, shrink him down to 6'8", and multiply his speed by 2, add handles to his game, add a mid-range game, also add insane passing ability to his game. That was LeBron James. Like, LeBron's a GOAT, but a GOAT. And in 2010, he led the Raggedy Cavs to 61-21, the best record in the league. And honestly, no one just had a better case. LeBron James was as dominant as ever. I'm gonna put this one at A. For now. Looking at the field, I feel like this still deserves an A type of season, but I digress. Next up, we got LeBron in 2009 and LeBron James, man. I'm gonna be honest, bro. You must be the most boring human in the world to not watch LeBron James 2009 highlights and not be hyped and amazed, because again, the level of athleticism and explosiveness LeBron had in this time frame was just absolutely insane. And this season, LeBron James averaged 28 points, 7 assists, 7.6 rebounds, again on good efficiency. This is LeBron we're talking about, but more specifically, in terms of wins, the Cavs had a 66-16 record. They had no business of being that good. Which again was the best record in the league. They had the third best defense and the fourth best offense, and a big part of that was LeBron James. Now, I honestly want to look back at these seasons and really look into if we underrated his supporting cast, but still, man, Mo Williams, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, and Anderson Varejao is not a lot of help. And for the Cavs to be this good, that's a majority of that is still LeBron James. Like, dude was special. And given the fact that they had a 66-16 record with this supporting cast, this is one of the greatest regular seasons of all time. I'm putting that at S tier. That's the first S tier season of this video. Now let's go to 2008. This is the year the Boston Celtics Big Three formed, and this is the year Kobe Bryant won his first and only MVP. Now, as time has passed, Kobe winning the MVP award has been, a contentious debate. A lot of people feel like Chris Paul deserved the award, but I feel like one aspect that a lot of people forget about the season is the fact that the Lakers were already on pace to have one of the best records in the league before Pau Gasol came. And if I told you Kobe Bryant led Lamar Odom and Andrew Bynum to the top of the Western Conference while averaging 28 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals on, really good efficiency. Not really good, but good efficiency, especially for that time. No one would really judge you for saying Kobe deserved MVP that year. Because mind you, Pau Gasol was a trade deadline acquisition, and they only played 27 games together that season. While I will say, comparing to the field of this video, Kobe winning the MVP on these stats and, with the Lakers winning 57 games, there's a lot more impressive seasons we're going to be able to look at in this video. And with that being said, I'm going to put this one at B. It's a strong B. It's a good season. Nothing crazy, nothing bad as well. That's where it belongs. Next up, we got Dirk Nowitzki. Now, his his crowning achievement is obviously the 2011 playoffs, the 2011 finals run. However, beforehand, Dirk Nowitzki was, one of the most consistent players in the league. He was a winner, and the Mavericks were always consistently at the top of the Western Conference or near the top. But especially in 2007, the Dallas Mavericks ended up with the best record in the league, winning 67 games. And a big part of that was Dirk Nowitzki, who averaged roughly 25 points and 9 rebounds a game on 50-40-90 splits. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really have much to say about the season. You know, Dirk put up great numbers. His team won 67 games, and no one else really had a really compelling argument. Obviously, other players had really good seasons this season, but in terms of the MVP award, it's just, why wouldn't you choose Dirk? And for that reason, I'm gonna give this one a B. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing crazy, but you know, it's not terrible as well. B it is. Next up, we got the 2006 season, man. Steve Nash's second MVP season. And this is a controversial one amongst NBA fans, because this season, Steve Nash averaged 18.8 points, 10.5 assists, and 4 rebounds on 50-40-90 splits. Really good splits, Jesus Christ, as the Phoenix Suns won 54 games. And a big reason for the hate is just, especially in the modern era, I would say 90s and on, Steve Nash's MVPs were the weakest statistically, at least in terms of volume, because again, 18.8 points a game and you winning MVP, like that just sounds crazy. However, let's add a little bit of context to that, because I feel like Steve Nash leading this team to 54 wins in the Western Conference is, again, always impressive. For him to put up 19 points and 11 assists on 50-40-90 splits is, again, really impressive. But also, the Suns' second best player, Amari Stoudemire, only played 3 games and missed the majority of the season. And for the people who don't know about Amari Stoudemire in the mid to late 2000s, he was nasty, bro. He was nasty. More specifically, in the 2005 season, the season prior, he averaged 26 points and 9 rebounds a game on 56% shooting. Like, this is a really good player they missed, and Steve Nash still led them to 54 wins. It's honestly very similar to how much praise KD gets for his 2014 NBA season, when Russell Westbrook only played 46 games, except in this case, Amari Stoudemire only played 3 games, and he still led them to a record like this. So with that being said, honestly, I'm gonna put this one at A. Is that a hot take? Is that a hot take? I'm gonna put this one at A. Now, the season prior, the 2005 seasons, where I lose a little bit of my momentum when it comes to the Steve Nash love, because for this dude to win an MVP averaging 15.5 points a game, bro, yo, that's wild. That's wild. But again, let's add more context, because it is more impressive than meets the eye. There you go. Because the season prior, the Phoenix Suns had a record of 29-53, and for them to jump all the way from 62 to 20 is very impressive. That's very impressive. And while Steve Nash was a very important player for the Phoenix Suns in 05 and 06, I do feel like the statement of saying that the Suns went from a 29-win team to a 62-win team because of Steve Nash is highly overstated. I just feel like in 2005, the contributions and the improvements that his teammates made are just overshadowed, and they don't get brought up enough. The fact that Amari Stoudemire was healthy throughout this whole season and went from a 21 point per game scorer to a 26 point per game scorer doesn't get brought up enough. And especially Mike D'Antoni's influence on this team doesn't get brought up enough. And for Nash to get a majority of that credit, I just feel like 2005, out of any season in the last 20 years, was definitely the epitome of a season where you can point at it and say, they just gave the MVP to the best player on the best team, or at least the best player on the team with the best record. So I'm gonna give this one a C. Not that impressed with it. I ain't gonna lie. Not that impressed. Relative. Again, all of these seasons are impressive, but compared to everything else. Next up, we got 2004 and Kevin Garnett, man. Yo, KG this season was insane. Absolutely insane. Kevin Garnett this season averaged roughly 24 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal and a half a game, 2.2 blocks, and shot 50% from the field and closer to 80% from the line. To put into context how impressive this season was, let's look at the team, because Kevin Garnett that season led the team in points, led the team in blocks, led the team in steals, was second in assists, by far led them in rebounds, and in terms of efficiency, I believe he's third. Like, yo, KG gotta stop. Free throw percentage, okay, he could be better, but still. And more importantly, KG carried this team to a 58-24 record, and if we look at how that relates to the rest of the league, that was the best in the Western Conference. Second best in the whole league, only trailing the 61-21 Indiana Pacers. And he should have been unanimous MVP. He really should have been. No one came close to KG that season. And looking at the voting, he was 3 first place votes off of being a unanimous MVP. Those 3 votes went to Peja Stojakovic and Jermaine O'Neal. Yo, KG, I'm putting you at S, bro. You got it. You got it, King. You got it, King. Next up, we got the 2003 NBA season where Tim Duncan would win his second MVP in a row, actually. A lot of people don't know that, but Tim Duncan was a back-to-back MVP. Honestly, there were a lot of back-to-back MVPs this decade. Steve Nash, Tim Duncan, and LeBron James all won back-to-back MVPs. The 2010s had the same amount. They had LeBron, Curry, and Giannis. But still, man, come on. But in 2003, Tim Duncan would have his most impressive statistical season, at least in terms of volume, and this season he averaged roughly 26 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists, along with 2.5 blocks a game, shooting 51% from the field, and he played 41 minutes. And I just feel like this season really proves that if you gave Tim Duncan the touches, if Tim Duncan really wanted to carry a team, if Tim Duncan really wanted to put up the numbers, he could, and he did. And he did, because this season, again, he put up those numbers, and the San Antonio Spurs won 58 games. Actually, 60-22. I was looking at the wrong season. 60-22, which was tied for the best record in the league. And looking at the help that Tim Duncan had this season, we're looking at a 20-year-old Tony Parker, Bruce Bowen, Steven Jackson, a 37-year-old David Robinson that missed, 18 games, and a rookie Manu Ginobili. He only played 69 games and wasn't Manu Ginobili, you know what I'm saying? 8 points a game coming from Manu Ginobili is not the Manu Ginobili we know. And I believe Tony Parker was only in his second year in the league. So this is the help Tim Duncan had, and he led them to the best record in the league. That's absolutely insane, and would inevitably lead them to the championship. And actually, a lot of people want to ignore this, but the San Antonio Spurs stopped the Lakers from four-peating. It was them. It was Tim Duncan. Honestly, to me, this is this S? Is this S? I feel like this is a S tier season. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like this is a S tier season. Now, actually, if we're putting LeBron's 2010 season at A, let's bring Tim Duncan's down to a A, just to be consistent. You know what I'm saying? So, 03 season, A tier. Now, the 2002 season was a lot of the same. Tim Duncan put up the numbers, didn't really have that much help. Bro, I can't read. The whole time I was reading Tim Duncan's 02 stats, but even if you look at his 03 stats, they were still very similar to 02, and a lot of the things I said still applies, but still. Yo, I can't read. And speaking of the 2002 season, like I just said, a lot of very similar qualities to Tim Duncan's 03 season. And given that, do I put this at A as well? I feel like I'm overcrowding the A-type seasons, bro. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm gonna put it at A. I feel like that's high for Tim Duncan's MVP seasons to be that high, but it really was that impressive, man. I ain't gonna lie. For a player who the biggest knock on him is how much help he's had throughout his career, he really didn't have that much in the early 2000s. I ain't gonna lie. And he was winning MVPs and leading the Spurs to the best record in the West. Shout out Tim Duncan. Next up, we got Allen Iverson, aka AI, aka The Answer, in 2001, and this was his one and only MVP season. Honestly, one of the more iconic MVP seasons. I feel like this was just so memorable, and even if you started watching basketball in 2010 like myself, you heard a lot of stories about Allen Iverson's 2001 season, and a lot of documentaries have come out about it as well. And in this season, Allen Iverson averaged 31.1 points, 4.6 assists, 3.8 rebounds, and led the league in steals at 2.5 a game. Now, the efficiency, let's not talk about that. Let's bask in the glory. But on a serious tip, though, 42%, 32%, 81% is not that impressive. I'm not gonna lie. However, obviously the biggest accomplishment, the biggest part of this MVP season was the fact that the Sixers had such a good record, and that was because of Allen Iverson's play and also their defense, as the Philadelphia 76ers won 56 games at the top, having the second best record in the league and the best record in the Eastern Conference. And for Allen Iverson to lead them to a record this good, and the second best player was Dikembe Mutombo, who was 34 years old and was a mid-season acquisition for them and only played 26 games. Again, very impressive. I don't know. I get the fact that Allen Iverson doesn't have much help, but looking at what Tim Duncan was able to do in 02 and 03 with the help that he had in a tougher conference as well, what KG was able to do in 04, and again, a tougher conference. In the grand scheme of things, I'm honestly not that impressed with 2001 Allen Iverson. I'm going to put this one at B. I think it's a very solid MVP campaign from one of the NBA's greats. But there you have it, man. that's my rankings for all the NBA MVPs in the 2000s. For the S tier, we have LeBron in 2009 and Kevin Garnett in 2004. For the A tier, we have LeBron in 2010, Steve Nash in 06, and Tim Duncan's 2 MVP seasons. For the B tier, we have Kobe Bryant in 08, Dirk Nowitzki in 07, and Allen Iverson in 01. And Steve Nash stands alone at C tier in 2005. Make sure to leave a like on this video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Again, if you haven't seen the 2010 version, links will be in the description, and if you want to see a 90s version, make sure to leave a like, you know what I'm saying? If this video goes crazy, I will be more compelled to do that video. But with that being said, deuces.